Hello, family. A very warm welcome to Return to Yahweh Ministries. I am Teresa Lynette. We are going to be doing a study today on the origin of the true Israelites. We're going to find out who are the real people of Yahweh. It's going to be a simple lesson today. We're going to be talking about Noah and the flood. We're going to start with the generations of Noah because this is going to show us the great reset that happened and who was left afterwards. So we're going to make it simple. I'm going to be reading from the easy to read version of the Bible, the ERV. I ask that you follow along, take some notes, and let's get into this study so that we can find out who we really are. Where did we come from? What was the origin of this great nation? And so let's just get started. So we're going to start at Genesis chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. This is, of course, going to be talking about the generations of Noah. So verse 9 says, "This is the history of Noah's family. He was a good man all of his life. He always followed Yahweh. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth." Verses 11 through 12. "When Yahweh looked at the earth, he saw that the people had ruined it. Violence was everywhere, and it had ruined the life on earth." Verse 13. "So Yahweh said to Noah, 'Everyone has filled the earth with anger and violence. So I will destroy all living things. I will remove them from the earth.'" We're going to verse 17 now. "Understand what I am telling you," the Lord is speaking to Noah. "I will bring a great flood of water on the earth. I will destroy all living things that live under heaven. Everything on the earth will die." Verse 18. "I will make a special agreement with you. You, your wife, your sons, and their wives will all go into the boat." So we see here that Yahweh is expressing his feelings to Noah. He's not happy with the way things are going on earth. And he's telling him, "I'm going to destroy everything. Every living thing that has breath, I'm going to destroy it. But I make an agreement with you, your wife, your sons, and their wives. I'm going to bring you all into a boat to save you." So we're going to go now and we're going to read the entire chapter 7 of Genesis because it's very important concerning what's going on at this time. So starting at verse 1 of chapter 7 of Genesis. "Then the Lord said to Noah, 'I have seen that you are a good man, even among the evil people of this time. So I gather your family, and all of you go into the boat. Get 7 pairs, 7 males and 7 females of every kind of clean animal, and get 1 pair, 1 male and 1 female of every other animal on earth. Lead all these animals into the boat with you. Get 7 pairs, 7 males and 7 females, all the birds. This will allow all these animals to continue to live on earth after other animals are destroyed. 7 days from now, I will send much rain on the earth. It will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe everything off the face of the earth. I will destroy everything I made." Noah did everything the Lord told him to do. Noah was 600 years old at the time the rains came. He and his family went into the boat to be saved from the flood. His wife and his sons and their wives were on the boat with him. All the clean animals, all the other animals on the earth, the birds, and everything that crawls on the earth went into the boat with Noah. These animals went into the boat groups of 2, male and female, just as Yahweh commanded. 7 days later, the flood started. The rain began to fall on the earth. On the 17th day of the 2nd month, when Noah was 600 years old, the springs under the earth broke through the ground, and the water flowed out everywhere. The sky also opened like windows, and rain poured down. The rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. That same day, Noah went into the boat with his wife, his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. They and every kind of animal on earth were in the boat. Every kind of animal that crawls on the earth, and every kind of bird were in the boat. All these animals went into the boat with Noah. They came in groups of 2 from every kind of animal that had the breath of life. All these animals went into the boat in groups of 2, just as Yahweh had commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind Noah. Water flooded the earth for 40 days. The water began rising and lifting the boat off the ground. The water continued to rise, and the boat floated on the water high above the earth. The water rose so much that even the highest mountains were covered by the water. The water continued to rise above the mountains. The water was more than 20 feet above the highest mountain. Everything on earth died. Every man and woman, every bird, and every kind of animal, all the many kinds of animals, and all the things that crawl on the ground died. Every living, breathing thing on dry land died. In this way, Yahweh wiped the earth clean. He destroyed every living thing on earth, every human, every animal, everything that crawls, and every bird. All that was left was Noah and his family, and the animals that were with him in the boat. The water continued to cover the earth for 150 days. So what we see here is, the main thing we want to get from this right here is, the only people that were left on earth was Noah and his family. That's Noah, his 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and their wives. So in this way, there was a complete reset done on the earth. Only Noah's family was left. So now we're going to go to Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 3. And it says, Yahweh blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, have many children. Fill the earth with your people. Every animal on earth, every bird in the air, every animal that crawls on the ground, and every fish in the sea will be afraid of you. All of them will be under your control. In the past, I gave you the green plants to eat. Now every animal will also be food for you. I give you everything on earth. It is yours. Now we'll go to Genesis 9, the same chapter, verses 7 through 15. And it says, starting at verse 7, have many children and fill the earth with your people. Then Yahweh said to Noah and his sons, I now make my promise to you and to your people who will live after you. I make my promise to all the birds and to all the cattle and to all the animals that came out of the boat with you. I make my promise to every living thing on earth. This is my promise to you. All life on earth was destroyed by the flood. But that will never happen again. A flood will never again destroy all life on the earth. And Yahweh said, I will give you something to prove that I made this promise to you. I will continue forever to show that I have made an agreement with you and every living thing on earth. Verse 13, I am putting a rainbow in the clouds as proof of the arrangement between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, you will see the rainbow in the clouds. Verse 15, when I see the rainbow, I will remember the agreement between me and you and every living thing on earth. This agreement says that a flood will never again destroy all life on earth. We're going to go now to Genesis chapter 10, verses 2 through 5. In fact, let's go ahead and start at verse 1 from chapter 10. And it says, this is the history of the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They are Noah's sons. These men had children after the flood. So once again, it's being emphasized that the only people who were left after the flood were these 3 sons, along with their wives, Noah and his wife. Verse number 2, Japheth's sons were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. Gomer's sons were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Javan's sons were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. All these people who lived in the area around the Mediterranean Sea came from these sons of Japheth. The people separated and went to different countries according to their languages, families, and nations. Now we're at verse 6 of Genesis 10, and it's talking about Ham's descendants. Ham's sons were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Cush's sons were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Reumah, and Sabteka. Reumah's sons were Sheba and Dedan. Cush also had a son named Nimrod, who became a very powerful man on earth. He was a great hunter before the Lord. That is why people compare other men to him and say, that man is like Nimrod, a great hunter before the Lord. Verse 10 of chapter 10. Nimrod's kingdom spread from Babylon to Erech, to Akkad, and then to Calneh in the land of Babylonia. Nimrod also went into Assyria. In Assyria, Nimrod built the cities of Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calais, and Rezin. Rezin is the city between Nineveh and Calais, the big city. Mizraim was the father of the people of Lud, Anam, Lehab, Naphtah, Pathros, Chalsa, and Calpter. The Philistine people came from Chalsa. Canaan was the father of Sidon. Sidon was Canaan's first son. Canaan was also the father of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, the Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. These families of Canaan spread to different parts of the world. The land where the Canaanites lived went from Sidon down along the coast to Gerar, and from Gaza as far east as Sodom and Gomorrah, and from Admah and the Zeboim as far north as Laish. All these people were descendants of Ham. They are arranged by families. They are arranged by families, languages, countries, and nations. Now we're going to see in verse 21 of the same chapter 10, Shem's descendants. Now this is really our focal point, the descendants of Shem, because from the descendants of Shem is going to be where the Hebrew nation, the true Israelites, are going to descend from. Shem's descendants. Shem was Japheth's older brother. One of Shem's descendants was Eber, the father of all the Hebrew people. Verse 22. Shem's sons were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. Aram's sons were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah. Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber was the father of two sons. One son's name was Peleg. He was given his name because the earth was divided during his life. The other son was named Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almodad, Shelef, Hazamarveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Azal, Diklah, Obal, Abimial, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these people were Joktan's sons. They lived in the area between Mesha and the hill country in the east. Mesha was toward the country of Sephir. These are the people from the family of Shem. They are ranged by their families, languages, and countries and nations. This is the list of the families from Noah's son. We're at verse 32. They are arranged according to their nations. From these families came all the people who spread across the earth after the flood. So what we're seeing here, we're seeing that the earth is being repopulated by the sons of Noah. According to those three sons, the earth is repopulated. So as I spoke before, the important son that we're going to talk about from here on out is Shem, because from Shem, the line is going to go all the way down to the 12 tribes of Israel. So we're going to go from all through Shem all the way until we get to the 12 tribes of Israel. And we're going to study this out so we can find out where we really came from, who we really are, the origins of the nation of Israel, why the Lord made this nation, why is this nation important to the Lord. Okay, family. Now we want to go over to Genesis 11 just for a few moments, just to establish another point of what was going on during this great reset of the earth. And we're going to read from Genesis 11. And verse 1, it says, "There was a time when the whole world spoke one language. Everyone used the same words. Then people began to move from the area of the east. They found a plain in the land of Babylonia and stayed there to live. Then they said to each other, 'Let's make some bricks of clay and bake them in the fire.' Then they used these bricks as stones, and they used tar as mortar. Then the people said, 'Let's build ourselves a city and a tower that will reach the sky. Then we will be famous. This will keep us together so that we will not be scattered all over the earth.' Then the Lord came down to see the city and the tower." We're at verse 6 of chapter 11. "The Lord said, 'These people all speak the same language, and I see that they are joined together to do this work. This is only the beginning of what they can do. Soon they will be able to do anything they want. Let's go down and confuse their language.'" So we see here at verse 7, the Lord said, let's go down and confuse their language. So right here we see that there was a time that all people spoke one language, but that's about to change. It says, "Then they will not understand each other." So verse 8, "So people stopped building the city, and the Lord scattered them all over the earth." That is the place where the Lord confused the language of the whole world. That is why it is called Babel. And it was from there that the Lord caused the people to spread out to all the other places on earth. So this is very important in this great reset. We're seeing here that now not only are the people no longer speaking one language, they are being scattered across the whole earth. So this is how the earth begin to spread out. So that's an important key point in this great reset that we needed to look at. So from here now, we're in the same chapter of Genesis, verse 10, which is going to talk about the history of Shem's family, which I keep saying is very important because this is where the true nation of Israel comes from. It comes from Shem's family. So verse 10 says, "This is the history of Shem's family. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, his son Arphaxad was born. After that, Shem lived 500 years. He had other sons and daughters." Verse 12, "When Arphaxad was 35 years old, his son Shelah was born. After Shelah was born, Arphaxad lived 403 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Shelah was 30 years old, his son Eber was born. After Eber was born, Shelah lived 403 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Eber was 34 years old, his son Peleg was born. After Peleg was born, Eber lived another 430 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. Family, bear with it. I know going through genealogy can be sometimes to some people a little boring. Just bear with it for a little while so we can get to where we're really going to get to. So verse 18 says, "After Peleg was 30 years old, his son Rehu was born. After Rehu was born, Peleg lived another 209 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Rehu was 32 years old, his son Sereg was born. After Sereg was born, Rehu lived another 207 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Sereg was 30 years old, his son Nahor was born. After Nahor was born, Sereg lived another 200 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Nahor was 29 years old, his son Terah was born. After Terah was born, Nahor lived another 119 years. During that time, he had other sons and daughters. After Terah was 70 years old, his sons Abram, Nahor, and Haran were born. Now we are really where we're trying to get to. Who are we trying to get to is Abram. And we'll find that out as we continue to go. We're at verse 27. This is the history of Terah's family. Terah was the father of Abram. Now, a little segue here. We're excited to get to Abram because we're going to find out a little later on, Abram is going to become the father of the Hebrew nation. So, but back to where we are, which is at verse 27 of Genesis 11. I'll go back at the beginning. This is the history of Terah's family. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran was the father of Lot. Haran died in his hometown, of Babylonia, while his father Terah was still alive. Abram and Nahor both married. Abram's wife was named Sarah. Nahor's wife was named Milcah. Milcah was the daughter of Haran. Haran was the father of Milcah and Iscah. Sarah did not have any children because she was not able to have children. Okay? Terah took his family and left of Babylonia. They planned to travel to Canaan. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, Haran's son. Haran is one of Terah's sons that died, and his daughter-in-law Sarah, Abram's wife. They traveled to the city of Haran and decided to stay there. Terah lived to be 205 years old, and he died in Haran. Now, we're at a very, very important time. This is the time of Abram. This is the time that Yahweh is about to call Abram. And we're in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord said to Abram, "Leave your country and your people. Leave your father's family and go to the country that I will show you. I will build a great nation from you." We're at verse 2. "I will build a great nation from you. I will bless you and make your name famous. People will use your name to bless other people. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. I will use you to bless all the people on earth." So we see here right now that the Lord is calling Abram. Right now he's Abram. He's calling Abram, and he has promised him in verse number 2. He say, "I will build a great nation from you." The Lord is referring here to the great nation of Israel that's going to come from Abram. The Lord says, "I will bless you and make your name famous." So this is a very important time that we're in this teaching, because as I have said before, Abram is going to be the father of our nation, of the great Hebrew nation, the chosen people of Yahweh, the true Israelites. Okay? So from here, we're going to follow the life of Abraham, and we also found out that Sarah did not have any children. We saw the beginning of where Sarah is barren. She had no children. And we're going to follow this all the way through. We're going to search and find out what happened to Abraham. How did this promise come about to build this great nation of Israel? It's just going to be an exciting time. So at this point, I'm going to end the lesson today, now that we have gotten to Abram, and we're going to come back with part 2, where we're going to begin to really dive into the life of Abram, this great promise, this great covenant the Lord has made with him that is going to bring about the promise of the great nation of Israel. So we're excited today, people of Yahweh, to the true Israelites, the Lord has said we have been hidden long enough, and he wants to bring us back to himself. Thus, the name of the channel, Return to Yahweh Ministries. We are going to find out who we are. We are going to just dig into it so that we will have no more doubt. We're going to find out what the truth to this whole matter is. And we will no more be in the dark of who we are, where we come from, where this nation came from, how important we are to Yahweh, how important we are to the times of the past and the times that we're in now. We're living in great times. It's time to return. The Lord has said, my people have been hidden long enough. So he wants you to know who you are. He wants you to know your identity. So we're going to come back in part 2 and really find out more about Abram and see where this goes. Let's trace our history. Let's find out the truth. There is a nation out there that's claiming to be the people of the book. They are not the people of the book. You are. And who are you? Many of you have been having a yearning in your heart saying, am I really the people of, am I a part of this nation? I feel like something's missing. I feel a calling. I feel a yearning, a pulling in my soul that something is missing, that I haven't been told all the truth. And maybe there's more to this. Or maybe I am a true Israelite. That's the Lord pulling on you because he's saying it's time to return. Wake up, Israel. Wake up, Israel. Thank you for listening. Please join me for part 2, where we will pick up with the life of Abram. We will learn of the promise and covenant Yahweh gave to Abram and his seed. We will take our time and keep it simple on a journey to learning our true Hebrew identity. Yahweh has said that his children have been hidden long enough, and the wait is over. Yahweh is concerned about the condition of his people scattered around the world in all nations. He wants you to know that he has not replaced you with a false nation. He loves you and he is calling you. True Israel, you will know who you are by the yearning and pulling Yahweh has placed in your heart. You will have a knowing and you will learn who you are here at Return to Yahweh Ministries. I am Teresa Lynette. May Yahweh bless you and keep you, and may his eternal peace be with you always. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, Shalom.